Hey everyone, and welcome back to Sip and Talk. We're coming at you live with another daily deep dive. We're trying to get back up with those charts.
Top 100. Here we come.
Exactly. We're hoping you guys can help us out with that. So spread the word, leave us a nice review, maybe tell a friend.
Yeah.
Whatever you can do to get Sip and Talk back where it belongs.
All right, let's get down to business then.
You got it. So today we're tackling a topic that I think a lot of us have maybe fantasized about at some point.
Ooh, yeah, this one's juicy.
Sleep learning. Can we actually learn things while we're snoozing?
I mean, who hasn't thought about popping in some headphones, falling asleep, and waking up with a new skill or something?
Right. I remember in high school, I tried playing a recording of the periodic table while I slept.
Oh, no.
Figured I'd ace that chemistry test.
And?
Let's just say I still don't know the difference between lithium and beryllium.
Maybe you just needed the right technique.
Maybe. So let's get into it. What exactly are we talking about when we say sleep learning?
Well, the official term is hypnopedia. Basically, it's the idea that we can soak up information while we're asleep, usually through audio recording.
Like those language tapes they used to sell?
Exactly. Or motivational speeches. Or even facts you want to memorize.
So is there actually any science behind this, or is it all just wishful thinking?
Well, there is some evidence that our brains are still active during sleep.
Even when we're completely out?
Yep. Our brains go through different stages while we're sleeping. And one of the key stages is called slow wave sleep.
Sounds pretty chill.
It is. It's when our brains do a lot of memory consolidation, like hitting the save button on all the stuff we learned during the day.
Interesting. So it's like our brains are reviewing the day's notes while we're snoozing.
Exactly. And research shows that certain types of stimuli, like sounds or smells, can actually affect this process.
So maybe I was onto something with that periodic table recording.
Well, hold on there. While some studies suggest that sleep learning might help strengthen existing memories.
Like vocab words you studied earlier.
Right. But whether we can actually learn completely new information while we're asleep, that's still up for debate.
Ugh, so no shortcuts to becoming fluent in French overnight.
Afraid not. Think about it. When you're awake and learning something new, you're actively engaged, you're focused, you're repeating things. Your brain's not really in that mode when it's trying to rest.
That makes sense. So what does the research say about the potential benefits of sleep learning?
Okay, so here's the rundown. Some studies have shown that playing sounds related to something you learned during the day can boost memory recall.
So like if I'm learning Spanish and I hear a word paired with a specific sound while I'm asleep, I might remember it better the next day.
Exactly. There's also some research suggesting a possible link between sleep learning and language learning, particularly with simple vocabulary.
Right.
One study even found that people who listened to foreign words during sleep showed a small improvement in their memory of those words.
So maybe there's a little hope for us aspiring polyglots.
Maybe. But here's the catch. A lot of the research is less promising, especially when it comes to more complex information like grammar rules or scientific concepts.
So sleep learning isn't going to turn me into a physics whiz anytime soon.
Probably not. It seems our brains just aren't built to passively absorb that level of detail.
So it's more like a memory booster than a full-on study session.
Exactly. Which brings us to another interesting point. The whole sleep learning product industry.
Oh yeah, there are tons of those apps tapes, even special pillows claiming to help you learn in your sleep.
Right. And a lot of those products tend to oversell the benefits. Most of them don't have much scientific backing.
So buyer beware.
Always. Be wary of anything promising a learning shortcut, especially when it comes to something as complex as the human brain.
So no sleeping our way to a PhD then?
Not quite. But hey, at least those soothing sounds might help us get a good night's sleep. And good sleep is crucial for learning and memory.
True. Probably more effective than trying to cram info into my brain while I'm snoozing.
Absolutely. But now let's talk about some concerns people have about sleep learning.
Okay, lay it on me.
Well, one worry is that it could actually mess with your sleep. If you're constantly bombarded with sounds, even quiet ones, it could prevent you from getting that deep restorative sleep.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've definitely been jolted awake by a rogue podcast in the middle of the night. Not exactly peaceful.
Right. And another concern is that it could encourage a passive approach to learning.
Like people might start thinking they can just absorb knowledge without putting in any effort.
Exactly. And that's not really how learning works. You got to be actively engaged to really understand and retain information.
So even if sleep learning does have some potential, it's important to remember it's just a supplement to active learning, not a replacement for it.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right, so we've talked about what sleep learning is, the possible benefits and drawbacks, and some concerns people have about it. Now let's get into how this all might impact our lives.
Let's do it. So before we went off on that tangent about sleep-disrupting podcasts...
Always a good tangent.
We were talking about how relying too much on sleep learning could actually hinder our overall learning process.
Right. It's important to remember that there's no substitute for good old-fashioned effort.
Absolutely. But let's play devil's advocate for a moment.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
What if sleep learning does work, even if it's just a little bit? What kind of impact could that have on our lives?
Now you're talking.
Imagine students being able to reinforce their study notes while they sleep. Or musicians solidifying those tricky chord progressions.
It'd be like secretly leveling up your skills while you're catching Z's.
Exactly. And for people who struggle with traditional learning methods, sleep learning could be a real game changer.
Yeah, it could be a great tool for people with learning disabilities or anyone who has difficulty retaining information.
Right. And it goes beyond just academics and skills. Think about the potential for personal growth.
Oh yeah, like what?
Well, you could listen to motivational speeches or guided meditations while you sleep. It could have a positive impact on your mood and confidence.
Hey, it's worth a shot. But jokes aside, it does raise... So even with good intentions, there's a chance that sleep learning could be misused or have unintended consequences.
Absolutely.
Like what if parents start using it to try and mold their kids into certain types of people?
Exactly. Or what if it just adds to the pressure to constantly achieve and learn? Like we're not even allowed to switch off our brains when we're sleeping.
It's a lot to think about, for sure. It's not as simple as just popping in some headphones and drifting off to dreamland.
Definitely not. We need to be really critical about how this technology could be used and what safeguards need to be in place.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Sleep learning sounds like it has some cool possibilities, but it also comes with some serious ethical questions.
I think the main takeaway is that it's not a magic solution for learning. It's important to be skeptical and mindful of the risks.
Well said. But hey, let's not forget to appreciate the amazing things our brains can do, even without any fancy tech.
Absolutely. They're incredible organs, whether we're awake or asleep.
And who knows what other discoveries we'll make about the brain in the future. Maybe sleep learning will turn out to be more effective than we currently think. Or maybe we'll find even better ways to enhance our learning abilities.
The possibilities are endless.
That's what makes this stuff so exciting. But for now, let's wrap up this part of our deep dive with some practical advice for anyone who's intrigued by sleep learning.
Sounds good. Let's talk about how to experiment safely and responsibly.
And maybe debunk a few myths about those sleep learning gadgets and apps.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we're back, and I'm sure some of you are wondering, should I actually try this sleep learning thing? What do you think?
Well, if you're curious, go for it. But you got to be realistic about it.
So no waking up speaking fluent Mandarin?
Probably not. It's not a magic bullet.
Man. So no sleeping our way to a PhD?
Afraid not. But if you use it as a way to supplement your regular learning routine, it might give you a little boost.
Okay, so let's say I want to give it a shot. Any tips for making the most of it?
Yeah, definitely. Focus on reinforcing things you've already learned, like vocab words or key concepts. Don't try to learn something brand new from scratch while you're asleep.
Got it. What about the volume? Should I blast it or keep it low?
Keep it low and soothing. You don't want to wake yourself up in the middle of the night.
Right. No sudden bursts of Beethoven while I'm trying to sleep.
Exactly. And make sure you're using high-quality recordings, clear pronunciation, accurate information.
Makes sense. What about all those sleep learning apps and gadgets? Are those worth it?
Honestly, I'd say most of them are more hype than substance.
So I should save my money.
Unless you find one that helps you relax and fall asleep, I'd stick to simple audio recordings.
No need for a fancy sleep learning headband then.
Nope. The most important thing is to pay attention to how sleep learning affects your sleep. If it's messing with your sleep quality, ditch it.
Yeah, no point in learning a new language if you're going to be exhausted the next day.
Exactly. And here's the thing to remember. The real key to learning is consistency and effort. So while sleep learning might be a fun experiment, don't let it become a crutch.
Absolutely. Nothing replaces putting in the time and effort to really learn something.
Couldn't agree more.
But hey, it's a cool reminder that our brains are always working, even when we're not aware of it.
That's pretty amazing.
Okay, before we wrap up, I got to give a shout out to our friend Micky's YouTube channel, Mickytolife.
Oh, yeah. He's got some great content.
He does travel whiskey reviews, music memes. It's a fun mix. Definitely check it out if you're looking for something new.
A link's in the show notes, everyone.
And you know what? we got a really nice comment from a listener the other day.
Oh, yeah? What did they say?
I said, Joe's questions are always so insightful. It's like he's opening a door to a new world every episode. I've learned so much from Sip and Talk.
Oh, that's awesome. See, Joe, you're a star.
Yeah. Part of me always wonders if those super positive comments are just bots, though.
Oh, stop it. You're great. But seriously, those comments really reflect what we try to do with Sip and Talk and spark some curiosity, share some knowledge, and have a good time along the way.
Well said. And a huge thank you to all of you for tuning in and being a part of this journey with us.
We love hearing from you, so keep those comments and questions coming.
And if you've tried sleep learning, let us know how it went. Successes, failures. We want to hear it all.
Share your stories in the comments.
We'll be back next week with a brand new topic.
Yeah.
So make sure you're subscribed and ready to dive in.
Until then, happy learning, everyone.
Cheers.